So before we can get into what is trauma and how to heal trauma, we have to start with what is the nervous system, because your nervous system is actually what gets traumatized, what creates the trauma, okay? So let's get into what is the nervous system. Your nervous system creates your entire experience. So I'm talking like everything you've ever experienced is driven by your nervous system. Let's break down what I mean by that. So every physical sensation you've ever had, from pain to pleasure, that is driven by your nervous system. Your emotions, your fear, your joy, your sadness, your apathy, your shame, all of that is driven by your nervous system. That also impacts your thoughts and beliefs. Okay, so good thoughts, bad thoughts, all of the beliefs that you believe, whether they are true or not, driven by your nervous system. Your nervous system creates them. Every behavior you have ever had, so where you have taken action and where you have not taken action, like where you felt stuck, the inaction is also your nervous system. Your perception of yourself and other people around you, whether you feel like you belong or you're accepted or you're loved, or how you're judging other people, all of that is connected and driven by your nervous system. Your nervous system also shapes your relationships and your attachment to other people. So your ability to set boundaries or be in relationships, stay present with others, stay in connection, be intimate, all of that is your nervous system, okay? Your sense of identity and purpose, that is from your nervous system too. Your health and healing capacity, so your chronic symptoms, your immune function, your inflammation, all of that is influenced by your nervous system. Your capacity for rest, your capacity for joy, your capacity for feeling good or slowing down, all of those things are driven by your nervous system. Your ability to make decisions, your intuition, your nervous system is driving those. Your memory and time perception, like if you feel like you're disconnected or fragmented, or there's like broken memories, or you don't really have memories, like all of that driven by your nervous system. Your ability to take in new information and retain it, or your ability to learn, all of that driven by your nervous system. Your nervous system is also responsible for a lot of your spiritual connection. If you feel cut off from God or like you can't connect to Him, chances are your nervous system is dysregulated. So it's all, your entire experience is shaped by your nervous system. Your nervous system is running all of those things. So it's really important that you understand it. So take a look at this with me. I want you to think of your nervous system like a ladder. On the left side of the screen, that's supposed to represent a ladder. At the very top of your ladder is your nervous system state of ventral. This is where you feel safe. You are not in active self-protection when you're in ventral. Your nervous system is perceiving safety, and therefore you want to socially engage. You want to connect with others. You feel good. It's kind of this sense of like, I've got this. So this is where you feel motivated and restful and playful and carefree and creative and calm, peaceful. You can be kind here. You want to connect with others and socialize. You're very organized, you're motivated, you're confident, you're competent. All of that is happening in ventral. This is where everybody like wants to be all of the time, but that is not realistic, because stressors are going to happen, stimuli are going to happen, perceived threats are going to happen. And when those things happen, your nervous system is going to come to your aid, and it's going to move you down your ladder. And the first thing it's going to try is the sympathetic nervous system. So you probably heard of this as fight or flight. This is a very mobilized, high energy state. When you're here, there is a sense of like competence and capability. Like, I can do this, but there's also a sense of urgency or obligation. So you feel like I've got to do it now. I can do this and I must do it now. Okay. This is where anxiety lives. This is where panic lives. This is where anger, frustration, rage, relational distress, where you find yourself defensive or argumentative, because this is all of those things are part of the fight response, right? But also the flight response lives here too. So anxiety, worry, controlling, panic, trying to hustle or strive, or just feeling restless or like you have to do or go. Perfectionism lives here. People pleasing lives here. All of that is your body trying to take action to get back to safety. Okay. And then when that doesn't work, you will start to move down your ladder even more. Okay. And you might get so much activation from like trying and failing, like trying to problem solve or trying to put out this fire and it not working, that you start to feel like stuck. And so freeze is a very mobilized state, but it is this stuck feeling. Okay. And it is where you feel so overwhelmed that you feel kind of paralyzed. Maybe you notice you're really hyper aware, but indecisive. Like, you notice a ton of energy, you know maybe what you need to do, but you can't bring yourself to do it. So you might be procrastinating here, even though there's like an urgency to get things done. It's kind of those days where you're like, I know what I need to do. There's just so many things on my to-do list. I don't even know where to start, right? That bracing, that inability to focus or concentrate, avoiding doing what you know you need to do. All of that is happening here when you're in this freeze state. And then there's lastly, dorsal vagal, which is really kind of like pulling the e-brake, your nervous system pulling an e-brake and being like, I absolutely can't. It's a very immobilized state where you feel collapsed. And we refer to this a lot of times as shutdown. So when you're here, you feel numb, like you're checked out, like you're not there. You just want to withdraw. You just want to be alone. It's very helpless, hopeless, maybe even sad, lonely. Basically, like your depression symptoms are really just your nervous system stuck in dorsal. Okay. When you're here, you're tired, you're fatigued, you're exhausted, you want to detach. You feel disconnected, not only from yourself, but also from other people. You just want to isolate. And it's really the nervous system like wanting to hide you away and escape all of the stress, because it feels just way too much for you to be able to handle. Okay. So you can think of sympathetic like the gas and dorsal like the e-brake. Freeze is really a combined state. It's a blended state. So it's kind of equal parts sympathetic and dorsal. So it's like having your foot on the gas, but pulling the e-brake at the same time. And so when you're in sympathetic freeze or dorsal, we call those the active protection states. That's when your nervous system is doing everything it can to keep you safe. It is perceiving some sort of stressor or stimuli in your environment, and it is saying, we are not safe, so we are going to protect ourselves. And as you can see, there's many ways to do that. But so I want you to see like all of these things, every symptom you've ever had behaviorally, right, falls somewhere on this ladder. And so those are not personality traits. Like you're, the things that drive you crazy, that aren't serving you well anymore, the behaviors you wish you could change that feel involuntary and reflexive, they are really just your nervous system doing everything that it can to keep you safe. And so these are not personality traits, okay? They are your nervous system in active self-protection. And that should really bring you a whole lot of relief and take away some of the shame from the behaviors, because these aren't choices. Like when you're in active self-protection, your nervous system is choosing for you. It's not like you say, I'm going to be anxious right now, or I'm going to go off on my coworker. Those things happen reflexively because this is all like on autopilot, like the nervous system runs the show. And in fact, when your nervous system is in active self-protection, your ability to have logic and reasoning online is actually gone. And so it makes so much sense that you're finding yourself doing these things. So there is absolutely nothing wrong with being in an active self-protection state. So what I want you to know is when we're naming a nervous system that's dysregulated, we're talking about one that is kind of stuck in either sympathetic, freeze, or dorsal, because you should be able to freely move throughout these states throughout your day. Like at any given day, you are going to find yourself in all of these states at some point, most likely. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with being in active self-protection. The problem comes when either you feel stuck there, like you can't freely move through it, or like meaning you feel like you're in sympathetic or freeze or dorsal like all the time. You don't feel like you really ever get to ventral, or when you go into one of those, you feel stuck, like it's just stuck all the time. And it also can be dysregulated when your body is jumping into these active self-protective states, but there's really not any danger or threat that your nervous system is perceiving that there is. Like the threat is not there anymore. So your nervous system is jumping into active self-protection when it really doesn't need to. And so that is why people come to me most of the time. Either they feel like they're there's a dominance and a stuckness of being in these active self-protection states. Like it's happening all the time. They're not freely moving throughout it. They're getting stuck there, or because they shouldn't be in active self-protection, but they are. And there's like a lot of confusion around that. So we're going to talk about trauma next. And what you're going to find out is that trauma really happens when your nervous system is so overwhelmed that it can't utilize the sympathetic response. Like it can't mobilize itself to take action because something happened too fast, or it was too soon, or it was too much at once, or you didn't have enough. And that feeling of overwhelm kind of prevents you from being able to either fight or flee a situation, aka you are so overwhelmed, your nervous system is so overwhelmed that it kind of is in freeze. It's kind of stuck. It feels like I need to protect myself, but I can't. And that renders you in this like helpless place where you can't take action, but you need to. And so a lot of times trauma is synonymous with the freeze response because there's just so much overwhelm at any given moment when you're experiencing just a really overwhelming experience in your body. So we're going to talk more about what trauma is in the next video, but you have to understand this nervous system and this ladder first to really grasp what is trauma. Okay. All right. See you in the next one.